you know, a lot of traders engage in knitting, in working on clothes for students, you know, their school attire and all of that. And this morning, it is thick smoke, raging fire, a lot of destroyed property, and many sad faces that have greeted us right here in Kantamanto. There are a lot of tales people have been telling me, but let's start interacting with some of those here to find out what exactly they do here and what the story is. What's your first name?
Maxwell Otu.
Maxwell Otu. Max, then now we are.
Master, me pama dia and me to school uniform so.
Yo, now store na we here for
packing machines in a machine na go on man.
Now also saying that we are what say aha jato ha as I say over.
Master, me 12 midnight and my sister ba come in na ejuma na offer me say e jato Kantamanto. Am say enti odu ho ya niam na nyina hyi. Ya niam na nyina hyi. Enti ana me bimi ka ba no e machine so machine ni nyina be bia hyi. Enti na tell school uniform ni nyina na me to no school uniform apama de agu ho. School uniform apam ni nyina de agu ho ni nyina hyi. Enti ban mi sanka be bia na ma bia na won mi sanka. We did kwekwahin roughly and right in brain na me pon bia no no. Ambra me pom ko du fie na mi sita ba ku frɛ me say ye say jato Kantamanto. Unfortunately say mi san samechi. Timbe du ha no me hu fire 10 ano be 2 ha no. Still omo ye bia still anye ye. Ya sa be si ko ni say omo dey another 10 aso ba ha no still anye ye. Nti ye ra inside we say no. All my property as lot almost 8 machines. If you ba ku kula ba ku 1,000 4,000 almost 200 million and the chi in me can make me as ba bro nya dey at first I mean na make me aka ba me de be nyame na di hini nti bro nya su ye be di pepepe
Kwabreje pacho yesi we peni wa ha den poti na we wa ha
me pamade
o pamade na omo bo ha ni na no una odi o mani ma na
e fan me wo mu ne de me na be di won anim
nti e fan ben na wo
me wo esoro ha lane 16
yo enti then I would tell you just say and na no pa ya sorry I yasem ya tini
e pacho bra atwam no na aka be say na otwe mienu ni ato aba no ya te say say e be hye enti no ya sama enhyehyehye ekoye pani office wo e ma won ni yi obi a wonam so ha e ma ne be nan so ye say se ya ti bibisa yenka yakoma entu yemu na ejayehye bia ema ane se sending se ya de wa bo an kwase wo be fa ye sama yan so yakoma eto yemu a che se bibi ama e be pim se anaju mi da ho ne ye ba be frɛ me se me hache me machine enwotwe industrial machine 8 ane bundles mi kitabe 50 bundles e wo ha
Counting the losses there, Vice President Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has been there this afternoon with a number of promises. Let me get to Lateef Idrisu, who was there for us to find out how exactly the Vice President says the concerns raised by these people will be addressed. Lateef, I'd like to start with the allegations being made by the traders that some people had actually forewarned that this was going to happen. Did this come up when the Vice President met them? Lateef, so I'm asking whether or not the allegations being made by some of the traders. Yes, Lateef, do you hear me?
I can hear you, Gifty.
Right. So I'm asking whether or not it came up, the allegations being made by the traders that some people had actually warned that there was going to be a fire at the Kantamanto market. Did it come up in the interaction between the Vice President and the traders there?
No, Gifty, that didn't come up. And that speculation about forewarning to the people here that there was going to be fire outbreak didn't come up here. In fact, the Vice President, when he entered, the first people he had interaction with were the leaders of the Kantamanto. 2 individuals, 2 young men came to him and they gave him vivid description of how the fire started and how they got even the fire officers to come in to try and douse the fire. So that one has been dealt with. It didn't come up here. But the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, after observing the level of devastation here at Kantamanto, his initial words when he addressed members of the press here was that this is a human tragedy. He describes the outbreak as a human tragedy, something the administration has taken notice of, and he has announced that there's going to be a meeting on Friday. All stakeholders would be in attendance. Even his presence here, he had the National Security Minister and the Minister for the Interior and the Deputy NADMO boss, Abu Ramadan, plus many other officials of the National Fire Service in attendance here. He says going forward, come Friday, there's going to be a meeting at Jubilee House to fashion a plan for the administration to look at how much they would compensate the individuals who have been affected here going forward. Two things the Vice President announced. One, he says going forward, the administration will look at rebuilding the Kantamanto Market. So all these wooden structures that we see here at Kantamanto Market, the Vice President says the long-term plan for the administration is to rebuild this market so that the wooden structure that have served as fuel for the fires over the years are completely moved away. Secondly, the Vice President also announced that there's going to be some level of compensation to the market women and men whose livelihoods, they went to sleep having a business, they woke up the next day and their livelihood is gone. They do not have any business, they do not have any livelihood. So in the meantime or in the immediate term, that is the major concern for the administration according to the Vice President. And so what he describes as some form of compensation will come up after Friday's meeting at the Jubilee House, Gifty.
Right. As we speak, Latif, and hopefully you do hear me once and for all on this one. As we speak, what is happening at the scene of the fire?
I can hear you, Gifty.
Great.
Okay, so Gifty, we have the markets, the men and the women, the traders. They are all trying to salvage, what has been left. But clearly, Gifty, looking at the time when the fire started up till now, you can say that they are trying in vain. They are trying in vain, trying to salvage what is left and standing by. Even as we visited the place, Gifty, I can tell you that we can still see smoke emanating from some of the makeshift structures at the epicenter, if you like, where the fire started. So they are just there. Those who are trying to salvage are trying. Those who are helplessly looking on are looking on, and the smoke is still raging on. I have the Greater Accra NADMO boss, and we just want to find out from him quickly what his unit is doing in their own way to prevent some of these avoidable fires at the markets. It's become one too many. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think so. I agree with you.
Introduce yourself to our viewers.
My name is Archibald Kobnak, the Greater Accra NADMO Director. I think I agree with you. It's become one too many. And as a result, we're doing a lot of sensitization work. But I think that beyond sensitization work, it is important. And moving forward, I'm going to meet my regional minister so that working together with all the municipal and metropolitan assembly, I tell you that we had a meeting with all the works departments of the assembly, the health officers. We called some segments of the assembly people to a discussion, because the kind of work that we do, we work in collaboration with stakeholders, and the municipal, metropolitan and district assemblies are stakeholders in the way forward for some of these things. I'm going to involve the regional minister. He's here. He was at Odona. He's aware of what is going on around. And I think that is imperative. One of the critical things that we need to look at, especially going forward, is the issue of having even the access way within the markets. Because once the water tankers and the The fire tenders are coming in. Access way is a major problem to them.
Over and over the years.
Access route to of course, and that's why I'm saying that it needs to have the involvement of the regional minister to give it a certain weight, so that working together with the assemblies, we can get there, we can get on the grounds and work with the various committees of the various markets in ensuring that people make way, so that we can have access in case of, we have issues of fire hydrants as well. Because if we have fire hydrants within the markets, immediately there's fire, before even the call for fire service to come in, some level of work will be done to bring the fire down. We'll also look at possibly having water tanks as well. Because the hydrants that we had, a lot of the hydrants, people are not working. Some water is not flowing through. We have situations where people have mounted containers and cemented the hydrants. We have illegal connections in the market, and so
you have a lot of work to do with all these things you have enumerated.
That's why I'm saying that critical of all of this is unfortunate that these things are happening. His Excellency the President was at Kantamanto Market, the pedestrian mall. His Excellency the Vice President, he is asked that a meeting be called on Friday. And so we need that kind of high level involvement, and through the regional minister, to ensure that the various assemblies would also work with us the way we are supposed to work with them in ensuring that some of these things are done. And going forward, I think that all our market associations, we're going to have a program with them and have this.
That's where I was going.
And
involved are these market committees that
we're going to have. We of course, when we're doing sensitizations, we definitely will not jump into a market. We always meet with them. But of course, now we need to meet and have a more critical look at the situation and see how we can partner them. Because they and some of the people are within the market. For example, security within the markets, people who watch the marketplaces, we need to do a lot more work. They have issues with security, so that we can see how we collaborate with the police and the communities to have neighborhood watch to assist them. And so it's going to be a multifaceted approach in ensuring that some of these things are nipped in the bud.
Would NADMO come to the rescue of people who have lost their livelihoods overnight? I know the Vice President talked about, after Friday's meeting, government to fashion out a plan to sort of compensate them. Is NADMO thinking in that direction of maybe coming to the aid of people who they went to sleep with a business, they woke up, they don't have a business?
Of course, as NADMO is part of our work. And so I'm happy my Deputy Director General is here. The Director General himself is out, but he's aware of the situation. And so from here we are meeting. Of course, there are critical things that we need to put in place. One is to ensure that we do an assessment. Okay, because you can't do anything without a proper assessment to be able to determine whether person A is actually involved or person B is actually involved. Once those assessments are done, then like you're saying, immediate relief, we will also look at our strength and what we can be able to do within our means to assist and cushion them, whilst government at the government level would also be taking the steps. In the case of Circle, as you are aware, the traders themselves, they said they didn't want anything from NADMO, and so they were looking at what government will do. And of course, going forward, I mean, with the meetings with the MBSSI and the Maslocks and things, they are having some relief here and there to support them. So it's ongoing. And I can assure you that quickly, before even the assessment, we are also going to meet at that level to see what we can do. And then when our reports come, immediately we'll move in.
So I wish you well in your, endeavor to try and bring an end to the...
I think that what we're going to be doing, we're going to be involving you every step of the process. We'll involve you so that you know where we're going and how we are approaching it.
Thank you very much. So Ajwal is the Greater Accra NADMO boss, and he has been here with the Vice President and the ministers who accompanied him to have first-hand look at the level of devastation the fire has caused to businesses here at Kantamanto. I'm leaving you with the word of the Vice President that on Friday there will be a meeting and that will determine what steps in terms of compensation, how much government will give out to the affected, and also the rebuilding of the Kantamanto market is something that has come up strongly here during the Vice President's visit. This is Latif Idris reporting for Joy News.